Hello, ZKAV Club. Welcome to Foundry number 5. We're here joined by the Foundry team, and I've got Rabmar here in the studio because we just finished 2 full weeks of Berlin Blockchain Week, including 5 events that spanned 9 days of work over the course of 14 days or something. It was a lot. It was a lot of fun, and it was really an honor to have Rabmar and John and Squirrel and Zero Darts join and help out to make this happen. I couldn't have done it without y'all. So huge thanks to them. And I want to start by also thanking the organizers of the events that invited us into their space and gave us the access to power that we needed. It was really, really a great experience for all of us. And I think that the people at Berlin Blockchain Week events that we were at really enjoyed having this option of joining the conversation and being a part of this archive. We had some really cool conversations, and I think overall the recording station was a big success. So we're looking forward to taking it where we take it from here. And first, I want to take this session of Foundry to talk about what we did and why we did it. What is the recording station and why does it matter? I think it's a really important and powerful thing. So we'll cover that during this session of Foundry. And then we'll have some community workshops, starting with a workshop on how we did the recording station. And then we'll ask community members to lead their own workshops. You can get 5 ZEC for doing this. That's 5 Zcash if you're not familiar. And this would be basically telling us how you would set up a recording station if you were to do it at events where you are. In your own language, it's meant to be a regional activity for a global audience. So I know we've got John here. John was at the ZKV Club recording stations during Berlin Blockchain Week. He was a huge help, and now he's joining Foundry as one of the advisors. John, how you doing?
Good. Sorry, man, I had to unmute myself. Doing good, man. Getting rested from the previous, venture, pretty much, man. It's very tiring, and the jet lag is killer.
Yeah, that is wicked. Did you have a good time though?
Oh yeah, it was a great time. Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, it didn't seem like work. I mean, it was very tiring, but yeah, it was a great time. I enjoyed, all of it. Really, it was pretty remarkable, that it all went actually so well. I think.
It was definitely tiring. I think 5 events may have been too much. We did 5 days in a row, and we started with a prep day, doing testing of all the equipment. We took a whole day to set up, and we all brought our own equipment. So there was so many wires and adapters and cameras, tripods, lights, microphones, all of the wires and wireless stuff to connect all of that. And we spent an entire day on Monday, the 9th, the day before Funding the Commons started. And it was a wild day of configuring and setting up. We had the shielded camera set up as well. I was just working on the video from that live stream that we did on the end of the test day, and I had to adjust the volume quite a bit up. It was a test, so it wasn't perfect, but it did work really well, and we'll be uploading that video again soon so that anyone who missed it or couldn't hear it can check it out. And it's pretty phenomenal to see the change that happened between the first live stream that we did as a test and the third live stream that we did, which was part of the Zcash Special Edition podcast that was paid for with the donations that sort of funded the whole trip, this whole experience. So yeah, that prep day was wicked. And then we had Funding the Commons for 2 days. And this was really the debut of the recording station concept. We have prototyped it before, but this was the first real setup. And it was full of interesting surprises, things that I hadn't expected, including you set up a bunch of video equipment and lights and everything at a venue. And we just wanted it to be open doors for people to come in and tell us their story. And a lot of people see this setup and think that it's a professional media company who has speakers already booked or people they want to interview specifically. So even just like letting people know that they're invited in and we want to talk to them, this was a big part of the challenge, I think. So this is what we're doing today. We want to go over what the recording station is. It's more than just equipment. And we've got Roosevelt and Ora here who they were supporting us from a distance. They were there in spirit, and it was really great to have their support. And I'm hoping that now they can kind of ask some questions to the team that was there and keep this information flowing out of the team and into the world. So Roosevelt, Ora, ¿cómo están?
Hello, congratulations, team. You do a very, very special and great coverage of the event. I'm very proud to be part of the team. A little sad because I can't be on Berlin, but I'm really proud of you guys. Great work.
Hi, team. Thank you for the confidence, Ever. You can do a good job here. Thank you.
Muchas gracias. It was really, it was a great time, and I'm glad that we have the support of the ZKAV Club that couldn't be here. It really means a lot to us, and we did make a lot of content that we'll be releasing. We haven't released anything really. We played some clips back in our podcast. We did 2 podcasts that were live streamed halfway through the 2 weeks, and then at the very end, it's the day after ZK Hack, which was our last event that we did. So we did these 2 live streams and we played some of the clips from our interviews. They didn't really feel like interviews. It was more like a conversation or a discussion that we were having. And it was a lot of non-technical stuff from technical folks, which was really awesome. It's nice to have these conversations that happen in the hallway track outside of the staged rooms. And it's really nice to connect with folks. So we did 30 different interviews, my last count, which is pretty amazing. My guess was 32, I think. And then we had another guess of 28. So we were kind of in the ballpark. And then this also doesn't include the live stream sessions that we did for the Decentralized Media Summit. That was a really amazing event. Big shout out to that crew. That's the Control X team. And they did a great job of coordinating this and putting together this amazing schedule of journalists and techs that are working in decentralized technologies. And it really turned out to be amazing of this collision of journalism and decentralized tech for whistleblowers, for journalists to be able to publish, anti-censorship, a whole lot of different really cool stuff being discussed there. That live stream is on our YouTube channel, ZKAV_club. And you can check it out there now. We'll be releasing the individual videos as soon as we have them ready. The sorting of all of this content just started today. And I've also been working on a recap that it's a recap blog post to tell people more about the details of what we did all in one place. So look for that. I'll probably publish it on Monday, I think. So I guess my biggest question, see, it's really difficult to do any kind of publishing and social media posting, especially live stream during these events. The live stream is difficult because the Wi-Fi is always questionable. We didn't have connections to an Ethernet port or any kind of dedicated internet. So that made live streaming difficult. And then there's the fact that we're all just so busy at these events. At Funding the Commons to start, we show up with a bunch of cameras and different audio equipment to record whatever, basically. And we were asked if we could also record some lightning talks. So Zero Darts and Squirrel went down into this really cool cave that they had at the venue. It was at Engelnest in Berlin. And they were down there for the whole first day recording these lightning talks. They did a great job with it. And then Radmar and John and I were up in the main recording station. And that day, I think we just recorded one interview, one talk, and then Web3 Privacy Now used the space to do an interview also with the director of tour, which was really awesome. It was super cool. It was an honor to be able to help them out with that, and they seemed to appreciate it. So shout out to Web3 Privacy Now for sure. You guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. I think they were at every event that we did the recording station at, except the Decentralized Media Summit. It was a much smaller one-day event, and they had stages at the other events that we did. So awesome integrations there with Web3 Privacy Now and all of these other events that were going on. We'll be seeing more of them in the future. So our team was split on the first day, and this made things, it would have made things difficult, but the first day was pretty slow. We didn't have any signage up outside of the recording station, which we learned on the first day of Protocolberg. We added this big whiteboard that said, "This is for you. There's a recording station. You can come and record a podcast or be interviewed or talk about your stories and stuff." And it really worked. The signage definitely helped. The second day of funding the commons, we put a sign-up sheet outside, and that worked really well for getting some folks involved and for us just scheduling things. So I can't remember how many we had on the second day, but it was 5 or 6, 7. That was the first day where we had someone come in and ask to just record a podcast, a conversation between the two of them. And that was really great to see. This is something that I was really trying to encourage, that like me and Squirrel, we were doing interviews there and guiding these conversations a little. And then we had a partnership with Octahedron podcasts that they're reviving from like 8 or 9 years ago. And it was an Ethereum podcast from the very beginning of Ethereum. So they revived that in partnership with the ZK AV Club recording station. And that was started at Protocolberg and then did another session at DAPHack. Both of those turned out awesome. That was super cool. And this is actually where the idea came from for the whiteboard that said, like, this is a public thing. We're very big on open source, on FOSS, free and open source software. And so we put free and open recording station on this big whiteboard. And then we had the sign up sheet there too. So we had quite a few more recordings when we started Protocolberg. And the energy was really great at Protocolberg too. Department of Decentralization did a killer job of setting that up. Big props to them. That was an amazing event. So John, did you have any kind of chance to check any of the talks at these events we were at, or were you just busy the whole time?
I was busy for the majority of the time, but at Funding the Commons, yeah, I attended a couple of the little lightning talks that were arranged, and then also one at Protocolberg, which was Ira's talk. It was really interesting. It had kind of a lot to do with my job normally, and talking about technical things and stuff like that. I took pictures, but yeah, otherwise was mostly like disposed pretty much the whole time, working the station, like you said, maybe from a distance, at least the particular recording station that we had going on could be like a bit imposing. It looks very professional, and like sort of talking to people and just making them aware of what it is, because they'll come up and maybe kind of eye it, and then like you said, getting that whiteboard in there was like a great idea. But yeah, that's I was kind of like sort of went into that mode, like was just kind of hanging out, and when someone would come up like, hey, and start explaining to them. Yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, it went really great. There were very few like technical issues. There were a couple, but as a team, I think like we were able to really sort of cover shortcomings here and there, and like it all went great. Like there were some other things that happened like on the experimental side or whatever, but like yeah, I mean, yeah, it went really great. Yeah, and I think like now after having been there, you know, especially to these places, you know, people like you know, do definitely have a better idea, you know, of what it is, you know, and yeah, anyways.
Yeah, especially with these events, with these Berlin Blockchain Week events, they were all very diverse, but still captured a real vibe that I've experienced at a lot of different European kind of conferences. Not so much in the US. They have a much more technical focus, I think, and a lot of them, it's not about like pitching the blockchain. At least at Protocolberg, that was definitely, there's a strict rule against shills, and even though you have people that work on like Ethereum and Solana and these other chains, they were talking about other things that they're working on, interesting problems that they're hacking on. From an engineering perspective, it's much more interesting conversations and things. And you mentioned Ira, John, and Ira did do an interview with us. So we have that. It's one of the first ones that we did. And she also worked with me and another colleague from DWeb, Arkady. They were both helping to organize the DWeb track at Funding the Commons. So that connection between DWeb and Funding the Commons is really what made the recording station happen there. We had prototyped this recording station at the DWeb camps in San Francisco, and before that in Brazil. So there was this nice continuity of the recording stations, and this specific kind of community powered angle that we're taking, that all comes from DWeb. That all comes from my experience working in DWeb and learning about community building and narratives and storytelling. And it's really cool to see it continue out now into, in this case, specifically cryptocurrency communities and ZK and cryptography communities. And we hope to take it into other communities as well. So this isn't just for technical fields. This isn't just for crypto by any means. Although some of the stuff that we'll be doing and the places that we'll be taking the recording station will definitely be crypto focused, because like this is the community where we're starting. And the DWeb community is not necessarily crypto. It's more in the realm of Web3 and a lot of local first and privacy and control of your own content in that direction. Yeah. So I'm curious, like Roosevelt, do you have any questions about this recording station thing that we did?
No, I'm really happy to hear that the technical stuff are minimum. Um, I know that is because we have El Muñeco Robmar behind the controls, and is very cool. I feel the same, like you say, Ryan, about the event here in Europe. I feel that people, the attendees, are very relaxed, very chill, drinking. I don't know if without because it's summer, I don't know, but I think that here the people is very relaxing, and the events have beer, drinking, food, chill, sitting, talking about the event or whatever, and is awesome. I really like that feeling.
Yeah, that was definitely the case. At each event, we had a really nice, chill, laid back vibe. It was different at each one. And Funding the Commons, we were off in a corner under this like covered area, which was super valuable because it did downpour. There was a major rainstorm while we were there, and it was totally fine. Nothing fried. The equipment's all fine. And we huddled into this space and talked about AT protocol, which was fantastic. We had a 2-hour workshop on AT protocol, and I'm really excited about it now. I was kind of excited about it before, but didn't really understand how big it is or what it can actually do. And I'm seeing more and more potential now. There was they have a streaming, someone's working on live streaming on AT protocol, and it's actually like the whole video sharing part of AT protocol. I just saw yesterday, I was watching a live stream where one of the developers, the core developers on that, he was presenting at a live peer call. They do a monthly call. And I caught that live streamed onto X. You can check out the ZK AV Club profile on X to see the repost of that. The technical things, it was pretty incredible. Like, this team is fully capable of solving any kind of problems that we had between the 5 of us. And we had enough cables to do everything and extensions. It didn't all work perfectly. There was definitely some hiccups from the beginning when we were live streaming and the audio was really low. And then, interestingly enough, most of the problems that we had were audio related. There was one of the podcasts that we did. Live streaming is going to be more difficult. So if you're watching this and you're expecting to do your own recording station at an event, then I definitely recommend staying away from the live streaming option until you're totally comfortable and confident that what you're doing with the rest of it is actually going to work and that there are no bugs. Because if your live stream has problems, it will take all of your energy and all of your attention to fix that. And it's really an unnecessary bonus with this stuff specifically. The events are live streaming what's happening on stage, and that's fine. That's all that the audience actually expects at this point. Hopefully, they'll be expecting us to live stream the conversations at some point too. But those are difficult because we don't schedule them ahead of time. And we might have to in the future, but it's a feature. It's a feature of the recording station that I really liked, this spontaneity of it. And our whole crew really responded to the chaos of this really, really well. Like John said, like, it's really chill and we're hanging out, and then people approach us and we talk to them about the AV Club and we see if they want to have a conversation with us. We'd see people wandering through the crowd and say, hey, do you want to schedule something for later? And it worked really well. We filled in like 30 is a good number of interviews, I think, for this number of events, especially for the first time out. So very few technical problems. The most interesting was definitely the audio for the Octahedron podcast that happened at DAPAC. This presented all sorts of interesting wiring questions and trouble to shoot. So we ended up having to, because the whole point of that was to live stream to Swarm, the Ethereum live streaming network. It's a decentralized media platform. And they told us that we can live stream to it. So we got the RTMP key in order to stream onto Swarm. That's the way it works right now. That part's not decentralized, but the rest of it is. And they'll be decentralizing this part soon in the future. So it was a real honor to be able to use Swarm. It was super cool. And we had some network problems because the Wi-Fi and it wasn't working from the main computer that we were trying to stream to. So we had another laptop plugged in and an audio cable, an auxiliary audio cable going from the Rodecaster into this other computer. And aux cables are not good. They caused quite a few of our problems during all of this. It caused a problem during our live stream, the second podcast, I guess we did, or the first one. One of the podcast live streams, we had problems with an aux cable there. And then during the Swarm stream, the audio, we were using a couple of lav mics, which were picking up all the background noise. And we were in very noisy areas. At DAPCon, we were actually outside. It was really awesome. Like, we had this cool little park environment with the river behind us and underneath this giant tree. And the weather was great the whole time. I don't think we had any issues with rain there. But this was after John left. And we had to wire these headphones into the mixer. And then we had 2 lav mics on one of the speakers. And the lavs were picking up all the background noise. And it was just like going through the aux cable made the whole thing horrible. The audio on the live stream to Swarm is really, really bad. So we have the recording from the audio on the Rodecaster, and we put it through some tools, Audacity, essentially, plus something else, I think. And this really cleaned it up perfectly. So we have perfect audio. It's almost too perfect. I think we need to add some birds and background noise to make it look realistic because we're in this beautiful park-like setting. And we'll upload that with the video, put it back together, upload that along with the rest of this. We have a lot of content to publish. It's not just the 30 interviews, but also the live streams from Decentralized Media Summit.
Ryan,
Yeah.
I think that the attitude of the team is very important in these cases, because in live events, the stress is always present, right? And if a word, a stuff, a computer fail, uh, you can feel your head blow up. But I think the attitude is very important. What I see, the whole team of the CK team is you were very relaxed. We didn't note the problems or the stress behind. I don't know if you have, you tell, but I feel that you were very relaxed and with the control of the situation.
Thank you. It's that comes from years of experience doing this. I can tell you that it's it's not stress free if you're doing this for the first time, especially if you have a live stream going on. I really appreciate hearing that, Roosevelt. And we heard similar things from some of the event organizers who said they really liked our energy and our vibe. And coming from where I started live streaming 14 years ago or something, I was live streaming entertainment videos, performances. And those live streams were very difficult. I mean, we're talking 2011, I guess, was when I started. Then, so we didn't have a lot of the stuff that we have now. Now we have YouTube Live. Now you can stream into Discord or X or all of this with just a stream key and some open source software. You don't even need the software if you have a hardware encoder. There's different configurations that you can do. So like make the recording station do something that you're comfortable with using this new stuff, this new technology that we have that makes it super easy. It wasn't always like this. Like getting the video into a computer in 2011 wasn't super easy. And then broadcasting onto an RTMP server, which generally you'd have to like pay some company to run or set it up yourself. And then you have to have a website to host the video. And I built that website with WordPress. So I was running the actual website and doing the live streams on location in various places around the US and also Singapore. And when things would go wrong in those environments and I was by myself, I would totally start to panic and the entertainers would start to feel my negative vibes. So that was definitely not the right way to do it. And I think having someone around who would have just been like chill and been like, well, here's a solution, or let's figure out what else to do. That would have been super helpful. So I try to play that role now. And I have noticed that like I'm a lot more chill. It's not the end of the world when something goes wrong. And it really shows. And especially if you're hosting content, like it would be really, really difficult to do this all by myself, even if it was just a single camera with a hardware encoder that was doing the live streaming. That would be the easiest technical setup that I can think of. And one person could do it and host interviews. But I would definitely recommend getting a host and a person behind the camera running the OBS or whatever live streaming that you're doing, or just recording. Like OBS is also super helpful for recording. And that's what Robmar's been doing. And then we have an Atom Pro. We'll go into all the technical stuff at a workshop when we get around to it. We have a POAP. I forgot to mention the POAP. I should have mentioned this right at the beginning. There's a POAP available for Foundry number 5. And what you have to do is to cut a clip of this session and post it onto X and tag at ZKAV_club. Yeah, don't forget to tag us, and we can get you a download link after the show. It's on YouTube, and you can download it yourself with YTDLP. Awesome software. It's a command line tool, but a lot of what we talk about is or will be. So get used to the command line, and you can just download YTDLP off of GitHub, and you use it in the command line with YTDLP and then the URL of what you want to download. You could do this with YouTube, with any site that hosts videos, essentially. So as far as I know, it still works, and I use it frequently with YouTube to download the videos that we stream, because YouTube doesn't give you all of the options, but their API does. So YTDLP, you can download this, put it into your video editor, and publish some clips. You can do it after the fact. I think, Roosevelt, how many days do we have for people to do this?
Like other contests, people have to go fast. The date we have until, let me check, the Sunday, next Sunday. You have 3 days to create clips and win the pop-up.
3 days.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you have to move fast.
Yeah.
So make a clip, put it on X, and tag at ZKAV Club. We will end up including Blue Sky into this. I would like to include other social networks. Blue Sky doesn't have video yet, which is what I was talking about earlier. So as far as I know, actually there is an AT protocol presentation from DAPCon, I think. It's on the ZKAV Club profile on X. So if you go to there, you could see I reposted it. And this was done by StreamETH. They did all of the DAPCon. Wait a second. Yeah, they did the DAPCon stuff. And they also live streamed all the Protocol Berg stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if they did more live streaming during those 2 weeks. They were out there working in force. They were really, really impressive. I got to meet their creator, the founder, at DAPCon, came over and said hi. So awesome. StreamETH, you're doing excellent work. Keep it up. And yeah, you can check out this AT protocol video on the ZKAV Club profile. And that goes through a lot of the information that was covered in the workshop that we had at the Finding the Commons event. So that's really cool. And I don't know if he went into the video part, but I look forward to checking that out. And then we can have people post clips there. But back to the POAP. In order to get the POAP, you have to download this video or do a screenshot, get a clip, upload it, tag us. You get the POAP. You can also post in the Discord or in the Zcash Discord that you posted the video, like share the tweet there, and we'll be able to hook you up. But you have to do it before Sunday. And that's this Sunday. That's, yeah, just 3 days. Cool. Awesome. POAPs are incredibly popular. It's kind of crazy. Like I wasn't expecting this at the events that we were at. Like we did it was at Protocol Berg that Rob Mar put together a POAP. I think we did it for some of the other events. Was it just Protocol Berg? Yeah, it was just Protocol Berg. We put up the QR code and people could come up to the recording station and get a POAP. And the creator of POAPs, of the actual POAP protocol, the proof of attendance protocol was there. And we got a message from him later saying, hey, there's an easier way to do what you were trying to do. I really was hoping to speak with them later and get an interview. We didn't have the chance, but I have a feeling that our paths will cross again. And I look forward to that. Definitely. We really did a lot of work to build the reputation of ZKAV Club at these events. And the connections that we made are going to be paying off in the near future. So we'll have some announcements later in the show, and hopefully you'll stick around and wait for those, because we have some big announcements for workshops that are coming up and recording stations that are coming up. All of this was really made possible because of the Zcash donations that we got. Like we had set our minds on getting this done and covering as much of Berlin Blockchain Week as we could. And we were still signing up events when the first one started. It was, I think we got ZK Hat confirmed just a week before the event. DAPCon, we got our tickets and got confirmed the day before, like hours before the event. So like there was a lot of outreach happening. the Decentralized Media Summit even. It was just a few days before that we got that contact and we confirmed it. And I was still saying, do you want us to live stream this stuff? So it was a lot of last minute negotiations going on, and it all worked. And like, it would have been a lot more difficult if we were just like paying for this out of our pockets without any kind of return. So that was really the donations that gave us that kind of spiritual return, and also obviously the financial return on it that has made this all possible. So Zcash community really came through for us, and it's huge. It's really, really appreciated. Yeah, so these headphones are driving me crazy. All right. So we have, the reason I'm wearing headphones is because the live stream here is happening through a main camera. We're basically using part of the recording station setup in order to stream to Brave, and then from Brave out to YouTube. And it seems to be working pretty well. I think we're also streaming onto Discord from YouTube. And so the way it's set up is that this whole video and the translation and everything is going through Robmar's computer. And then I've logged in with Brave Talk on my computer, and that is just handling the streaming off to YouTube. And then it's hooked up to the headphones so that I can hear others speak. And yeah, and then Robmar has the controls over there with his OBSBot. This OBSBot AI camera is super helpful. The remote control, we use this a lot. And you can see some of the other setup there. So it's definitely not most minimal of the recording stations that we could do. We were lucky enough to have a crew that was really excited to like bring their equipment, and we could maximize what we were doing. In a smaller team, this might be like a camera and a hardware encoder, or just a camera and a laptop. Microphones are super important. I would also recommend an audio recorder. But our setup was looking really professional. I think we started blowing people away. At the beginning, they seemed to kind of expect it. And then by the time we got to ZK Hack, people were like, whoa, what is this? It actually looks like a studio. We have all our lights. We've got pro cameras set up, and everything looked really great. So each deployment was pretty dramatically different. The deployment at the Decentralized Media Summit was not a really recording station. It was kind of recording station repurposed for live streaming the event, and it worked really well. And then we had we did one interview at the Decentralized Media Summit that I'm really looking forward to releasing. This is going to be really great. So we went outside to do that one. Squirrel and Zero Darts handled that, while the other three of us handled the live stream for the Decentralized Media Summit panels and presentations. So like, yeah, like I said, you can check out the live stream from that event. It's a little glitchy, especially at the beginning. I think we were dropping frames because we were just connected to the Wi-Fi. Their Ethernet wasn't working or accessible where we were. So we gave it a shot, and it actually worked. I was really impressed with the Wi-Fi at W3 Hub. So good job, W3 Hub. Also, shout out to Quinn at W3 Hub, who hooked me up with the contacts that got us the recording station at ZK Hack and the actual Decentralized Media Summit live stream. Those connections came in through Quinn, and that was really huge. So if you work at W3 Hub and you work with Quinn, give him a high five or something, a hug if you're into it. Ask for consent first, but it's really appreciated, Quinn. And yeah, we couldn't have done those events without you. It was really incredible being able to make contact with these events organizers who were so receptive. Like it was really heartwarming, and enabled us to do what we could do in this weird experiment that has now opened doors. At the end of Decentralized Media Summit, they said, we want you to be involved with a bunch of stuff in the future. And I think at every single event, we were asked if we're going to Argentina. And in case you don't know, Argentina is the location for the Dev Connect conference. It's a week-long thing that's happening in Buenos Aires, and it's in November. It's November 11th to 17th, I think, something like that. Yeah, it's like a whole week, and we're getting a lot of requests to be there. So we're gonna see what we can do. No promises just yet, but it's looking very, very hopeful. I'm very optimistic about this, and it's just up to us to coordinate it and see what we can make happen. So, yeah, Argentina is a big one, and people definitely are looking forward to us being there. The podcasts that happened, the recordings where we weren't involved in like the organizing of the recording of the conversation or the hosting of it. It was like one of my favorite things, one of my favorite parts of the recording station that we did. And we did one at each event, I think. Octahedron helped a lot. They pre-organized a few killer conversations. The one at Protocol Berg with, oh man, I'm not even gonna spoil it. This is gonna be one of the first recordings that we release. The Octahedron podcast, that partnership is really a symbol of what I want to see happen at these recording stations. They knew about this concept before we even contacted a lot of the event organizers. So they had the opportunity to start thinking about who they wanted to book, who they wanted to speak with, and how they wanted to do it. Some of their stuff, they wanted to only be audio. So we actually set up an audio recording station next to the regular AV recording station that we had so that we could kind of dual record. That was a great idea. So if we have space to do that at bigger events in the future, then we probably will have this audio only version of it as well. So the Octahedron podcasts were killer. The Swarm live stream was also with them, and Squirrel co-hosted. And this is something that I want to see at all of the events that we do in the future. I want to see content creators partner with us and help us with the coordination and the hosting of these content. And people come up to us randomly through the event and say, hey, can we use your recording setup? Or contact us before and schedule something. This happened at almost every event. And I think ZK Hack was the only one where it didn't happen. But DAPCon definitely, Protocol Berg, we had these. And then also the first one, finding the comments. And they were awesome. It was so cool for me to sit back and see the crew doing all the behind the camera stuff, and then two attendees of the conference doing what they do and just having a blast doing it. One of the people who used the recording station in this way sent me a message later asking where we're going to be next. And when I hinted at Argentina, then they got really excited. So we already have folks who want to join as hosts and do more of the podcast partnership angle at future events, and they're asking where we're going to be. This is a really cool feeling. This is a sign of success, I think. And it's really why we're doing it. Like the whole point of these recording stations is to record conversations that are happening off stage, like what's happening in the community. I want to hear it from the community, not from the founders and the leaders of these different movements or the developers. Like, developers are awesome and you're doing a great job, and we can hear about the technology that they're working on in other forms, but really reflecting what is being said and what's being talked about and what these people are thinking about outside of the technical sphere is really, I think, where the really cool revolutionary thoughts are happening. So it's really cool to get that experience. And it's even better if we're not hosting it, because there's a natural bias there. It was an awesome feeling, and I think it's working. It's really neat. We have this great collection of content now.
Ryan, we have questions.
You have questions, yay.
Yeah, on YouTube. Let me read. What should people take into account when creating a recording station in an event?
Yeah, that's a really excellent question, because there's a lot that goes into it. Like, the first thing to consider is, what do you feel confident promising? What is it that you can deliver without going crazy, without exhausting yourself, and without learning new equipment on the spot? Because if you start doing this, then you should be comfortable with the equipment, the fact that it's going to work. So don't overcomplicate it. Don't go out and spend a bunch of money on new equipment before you go. Consider what you have. Phones have great cameras in them, and you can hook up the phone has a camera to a laptop in various ways. Camera is not necessary. You can do an audio only recording station. And in that case, then you would want some microphones. I recommend handhelds because you can hold it closer. And generally people, if you tell them, like, make sure you hold it up to your mouth so that we can hear. Lav mics pick up a lot of background noise. And these recording stations are best when they're right in the middle of everything. We want people to see us. We want people to come talk to us and be comfortable sitting in front of the camera, sitting behind the microphone and talking with us. So like having it central is definitely key. And we don't have to worry about background noise, especially with a good microphone. The background noise can be removed with a pretty simple AI. Audacity does a great job. It's open source. So like, again, don't try to live stream. It just kind of general advice. If we're doing these recording stations, you can live stream, especially like before the event starts. You can do a live stream saying like, welcome, this is what we're doing today. Don't try to live stream during the thing. And then like, if you want to do a recap live stream, like what we did, then you can use the same equipment to do that. But at the event venue, you would want to just record, start simple with camera, microphones, and an audio recorder. Something like a Zoom microphones, you can plug in multiple inputs. This microphone that I have has a wireless adapter, and the wireless receiver is plugged into a Rodecaster. The Rodecaster is really awesome if you want. This one has 4 inputs for audio, plus you can do Bluetooth, you can do USB. They make a smaller one that has 2 inputs, I believe, plus USB and Bluetooth. So that is definitely an option, but it's more on the expensive side. Zoom makes really cool audio recorders that they've been doing these forever. It's really the industry standard. And those you can record onto an SD card also. This will get a clear audio signal from each of the inputs recorded into a file on the device, on the SD card. So like audio is the most important thing. And if you can only do audio, that's fine, because a lot of people just listen to the audio on a lot of the videos that I've made personally. If you're live streaming a presentation on a stage, people will listen while they're coding or something, a lot of times at higher speed. So if you're doing just audio, that's cool. And then the video part, you can get a nice camcorder for like $1,000 and plug that into a live video encoder or into your computer. You're going to need a video capture device that goes into like USB-C through the HDMI from the camera. And that can go into OBS, which is free and open source software. And yeah, so also phones, there's ways to connect these to OBS. That is kind of the most basic. Like you're going to want good microphones. Handhelds are better than lav mics, the wireless lav mics, and a way to record the audio. And then if you want video, then you'll have to consider whether you want to record with OBS. You can also just record on the single camera and then make sure that you have the audio going from the recorder into the camera so that you have audio on the camera recording and on the audio recorder. If you don't really need the audio recorder, like if you just have a camera that has a microphone in, then you can actually connect the microphones directly to it. This is more along the lines of what I did for the Hackers Congress at Parallelnipolis back in 2017 and 2018, I think it was. Maybe in 2016. But that was just one camera. I had an audio splitter going into the microphone port with 2 wireless receivers for the wireless microphones. One was a lav and one was handheld. And the audio on my handheld didn't work the first year. It may not have been till after the second year that I realized how to change the audio on the handheld. It wasn't this one. But in any case, that was just the camera and the 2 microphones that were plugged directly into the camera. And then I live streamed that with a live video encoder. The video that's called Teradek is the company that makes it, the Teradek Video Pro. And this takes the HDMI signal from the camera with the audio from the microphones into the hardware encoder and then sends that off to YouTube or Twitch or wherever you want to stream to. It essentially removes the laptop from the situation. So it can also record, I believe, on it. But if you're recording on the camera, there's not really a point unless you just want to back up. So yeah, that's like bare minimum setup. If you have a camera that has an aux mic port, then you can plug some wireless microphones directly into that and get a nice clean recording. You can also, the recording station is very modular. It's more of a concept than a actual like specific product, because we all bring our own equipment, and it really depends on how many people you have, who you are, like what you're capable of delivering, what equipment you have, and also the event venues. Like this has to be cooperation. We didn't pay for any booths. We didn't pay for the option to be there. We were offered this and we did it voluntarily. So they really gave us what we wanted, but that's because like we were talking to them beforehand. And I basically told them like, we just need space. We need a table for our equipment and 2 or 3 places for people to sit. So like we have this big setup. We have lights, which are super important too. But if it's bare minimum setup, then it's really just camera, a couple microphones, record onto the camera. And then you can just do bare minimum editing and upload it after the fact. We have lights that we brought. And if you have a seated environment and you plan on doing these, then before going too far into other cameras or a Rodecaster or the Atom Mini Pro that we use to switch the videos, the very first addition that I would suggest after the camera and microphones would be lights. And we have these. Can you switch? Do you have a zoomed out shot?
I love that light.
These lights, no, there you go. And then come over here. Yeah, so this light, it's an LED panel by Dazzne, Dazzne, and they're cheap. And they came with this stand, and there's 2 of them that I got for like 35 euros, I think. And they're great. They change color temperature and they have a dimmer. So between those 2 and the bag, they're super cheap. I definitely recommend doing something like that, because these lights will make more of a difference than getting a better camera at first. If you have a great camera and no light, then your video is going to look worse than if you have a okay camera and some light. So if you have the opportunity to set up an actual recording station with seating and everything, then I highly recommend getting some lights. Our sign is also awesome. It was a gift from the Zcash Foundation after ZCon 4. So big thanks to Zcash Foundation. I should have thanked the Zcash Foundation at the beginning, because like they covered John's trip out here, and like this would have been without their support and without the support of the Zcash community with their donations, this just would have been so much more difficult and so much more stressful. It was really, really great to have the support of the Zcash Foundation and all of the Zcash holders that supported us. We'll hopefully be doing more crowdfunding for these recording stations, starting earlier. It would be kind of cool. There's all sorts of different funding opportunities that opened up from us doing this work. And hopefully it'll turn into something that's sustainable. It's difficult at this point because it's so experimental. It was really difficult to explain at the beginning. I got a little better at it, but it's a difficult thing to explain. The nice thing is if you're approaching the right event, they will totally get it. It's really clear that what we're trying to do has value and we're adding to the event. This is not an extractive thing. We're not there trying to maximize our profit or content creation at their events. We're there to help the community, to document and to tell these stories that aren't being told on the stages and the live streams. So working with the right event and figuring out how to approach them as like this is something we're offering that can really help you. It made a big difference, and it showed in the appreciation that we got from the event organizers, but also from the people there. We had a lot of people approach us, and I heard that some people even approached the event organizers, and they said like, thank you for doing this recording station. It is a really cool option, and it was just an add-on thing that we can do, and we'll find ways to fund it, make it sustainable, and you'll be hearing about all of that along with the announcements of our next events.
Very cool, Ryan. I have 2 comments before I forget. I really like what you say about the recording station is a concept, and is not a specific setup. It's very important because people can think, oh, it's very expensive to create, to organize and recording station. Okay, I think that with a phone today, the camera phones are very great quality, and with a good sound, make decent make, we can create a great job. I don't know if you saw the work of Zcash Turkey today on X.
I saw the first stuff that they did. I didn't see anything new, but I saw the end of the first day.
They are right now this week on Istanbul Blockchain Week. They are creating interviews on event with only with a phone and 2 mics. It's a very funny, interesting talking with the people live. That is a kind of recording station, mobile, I think, and it's very powerful.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And one more question is the first time that the CK AV Club, or is the first time that Ryan have a pet? Because the CK chicken is very funny too. I really love the CK chicken.
Yeah, we all love the ZK chicken. We had this little guy standing on top of the camera during the recordings with the shielded eyes, blacked out with some tape, and a sign that said, "Look here." And we had it stuck on the camera because people were never sure which camera to look at. But we did switch cameras frequently. So ZK Chicken will hopefully follow Ramar around, and we'll have more appearances at various ZK AV Club recording stations, and maybe some Zcash and Espanol recording stations. And you have the Zcash Club that you've started up, Roosevelt. How's that going? Do you want to tell us about the Zcash Club?
I don't know if the first time that you have a pet, because it's very funny, very cute, and people say, "Oh, it's very cute, the chicken, the popular chicken." Yeah, it's funny.
The chicken is a rock star.
So tell us about the Zcash Club, Roosevelt. Ora?
No, one more comment on YouTube, Ryan. It's a you are an inspiration for us. We want to do more things at the audiovisual level, and we are learning with the club. Thank you. Oh,
it's very
great
nice
comment.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. It's because of all of you that we do this. Like, it's really a community building activity. The club is all about community building. That's what Foundry is about. Like, we're not going into the details of our recording station for this session of Foundry. We're just talking about how it can empower communities and what the actual angle is. Because like this can be deployed in a bunch of different ways, but the angle that we really took was like, this is our community that we're embedded in. We're a part of it, and we're inviting everyone here to come and tell us their human stories, their real stories about their journey, about what they're thinking about. And it wasn't about a specific project. I tried to stay away from pitches and trying to get people away from like shilling what they're working on. It's not necessary. Like you can definitely have those conversations. For me personally, it was more interesting to hear the human side. We talked a lot about the social layer of these networks and all sorts of interesting stuff, social capital and governance and anthropology. And this sort of dialogue is what I was looking for in the community that we were embedded in, that we're a part of. But this is going to be different depending on where you are. Like all of the different regions of the world have different styles of contests of content at their conferences, at their events. So that alone will make it completely different in any environment. And then you also have the different contexts of the cultures, the subcultures in these communities that are attending the events. So like, for example, in 2 weeks roughly, we have ZECC, which is Electric Coin Company Zcash event that they're putting on. And we will have a recording station there deployed. I won't be able to attend, sadly. But we will have some of the crew that was at Berlin Blockchain Week and some other ZKAV clubbers who were not able to join us there will be joining us at the Zcash event. This culture, this community has a much more specific focus. The focus of the Zcash event of ZECC is Zcash. So like we'll have a bunch of different cryptographers and programmers and engineers from all sorts of different projects. There's a lot of talk about bridging going on. It all comes back to Zcash. And the people working at the recording station there are also going to be Zcashers. So this content could go deep into Zcash tech. It could go deep into what is being worked on and what's being discussed. I'm curious to get some takeaways from some of the sessions because nothing happening in the sessions is going to be recorded. They have strict Chatham House rules, which is really common for the communities that we work with. And I can go more into what that means. But my point is that the recording station at ZECC will be different in production, in the tech that we use, and in the content itself. And this is like something that we really have to keep in mind, the content, the context of the event, the culture that you're working with. The dialogue is going to be different and the tech that we use. So yeah, it's really cool to be an inspiration and to hopefully help enable whoever's watching this, all of you back home. Hopefully you do get inspired by this and not just like, here's the toys that you can play with and the stuff you can go buy. Like, I really want to see people take this and take the power in their own hands with what they have and go out into your communities and document the community in a way that is fair to them and in a way where you're a part of the community and really archiving, documenting, reflecting what is going on in the community and the social layer of the community rather than just capturing content. This is what production companies do. ZKAV Club is not a production company. We don't want to be. And like, yeah, if you are in a production company, you have your own, that's great. We really want to collaborate with you as well. This is not exclusive in any way. But I'm really stoked that people are catching on. And during Foundry, we'll talk about what you can do with it and how the community side of it works. And then we have these workshops. So we have recorded content for a workshop about the recording stations that we deployed. We'll do a live stream. I think it'll be live. But in any case, I'll host a video where we show off the tech that we used, all of the setup. We'll walk through how it's all wired, how all of the data moves around, and some of the trouble that we ran into that other folks can watch for if you're going to be doing this with this kind of equipment. And then we'll open it up to other communities to do a workshop in their own language with their own equipment and talk about how they could do a recording station in their own communities. So that's really the goal. And it's really awesome to hear from the online audience that you get it and you're into it. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Congratulations, Ryan. It's very, very powerful idea.
Thank you. I have a lot of hope for it now. I did before, like something in me was telling me that this is something we needed. I've been going to events and live streaming meetups and tech events, just like small unfunded things for 11 years now was when I started with the San Francisco Bitcoin meetup, and going to all of these events. Like at first I was live streaming because no one else was doing it. And being in a room where you're talking about all these amazing ideas and it's not being recorded, it's not being live streamed. As a documentarian, I just couldn't do it. I needed to add this to these events. Now everyone live streams. You can hire an AV company to do it. You can ask us to do it. We can definitely handle that if we have the right crew and equipment on hand. But there was still something lacking. And when I saw we came out of COVID and the AV companies, the venues all have AV companies that can do live streams. We have Stream ETH now, which is fantastic. I expect to see a lot more of this kind of production company pop up. But it still made me wonder, like, how do we express what's going on at the hallway track? How do we talk about and reflect the ideas that are part of the community that aren't on stage? Because there's a ton of people at these events and very few are actually invited to speak. While the ideas that are being talked about or thought about in the crowd deserve, in my mind, they deserve just as much space. So this is where we decided to kind of take this AV Club experiment. Everything we do is an experiment, and we have several experiments going on at the same time. But the recording station, the inspiration is really comes from that. Like, how do we really reflect a community at a community event beyond the stage? And then how do we control the archive? So the community itself controls the archive rather than a production company or something. So our content is all open source. It's all going to on Internet Archive under Creative Commons fair use license. We are giving the speakers, the people who joined us, we give them the option to watch the video before we release it. We'll probably do a few small edits here and there, but we aren't paid for post-production, so I don't expect there to be a lot of post-production. However, there is a lot of footage that we captured. 30 interviews, just that part. There's definitely enough content to make like a documentary film or a web doc series. Like web documentaries, typically 6 to 8 minutes, published on like all sorts of different decentralized media platforms, wherever. Like this could be done very easily with the content that we recorded. And this could be thematic. It could be like zero knowledge proofs. That was the main focus. So we're the ZK AV Club. So a lot of what we tried to talk to folks about is what's happening with ZK. ZK Hack was definitely the height of this, and we got a lot of really cool stuff. The DAppCon also, we had a chance to talk to some people who are using ZK in non-Zcash ways or even non-monetary ways. Like this technology is really cool, very valuable, and we're going to be playing with it too. There's a project called Truth Seeker that actually ties in very close to something that the ZK AV Club was talking about during all of these events. And this was hacked on at the W3 Privacy Now event, and they had a hackathon. And then also at ZK Hack, I found this one project on both of the lists, and they did a really great job of it. So I'm not going to give away any spoilers right now. You can look it up. It's called Truth Seeker. You can find it in Web3 Privacy Now repo and the ZK Hack winners list. I don't know where those are exactly, but if you look Truth Seeker on GitHub, you can find the project. You can learn what I'm talking about. And we're going to be playing with this in the future. Like ZK AV Club also hacks on ZK stuff that we find in the field that applies to what we do. So that was really our focus, and it's really cool. And there's a lot of content that we recorded that has to do with this ZK stuff. So I'm thinking maybe there's a web documentary series there. And if we can do another crowdfund, if we can maybe get a grant to pay for the post-production, we just did all of this production. It's all done. This is usually super expensive to get a production company to do this, and we were able to do it for very reasonable price, and we got our donations to cover things. What's this for? Test, test. Yeah. Is that better? What was the problem? There wasn't a problem. You just wanted me to use this instead. Okay, that's cool. Rabmar, switching out the headphones. I hear more of an echo now. Oh, shit.
Sounds good. Don't worry. Sounds good.
Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is a bit complicated with the going through Brave Talk and then into the headset.
Yeah, man. You basically like touched on like every point like that I was thinking about, like mentioning, like why it's important, like the things to consider, like with the different recording stations, like mentioned Roosevelt mentioned Zcash Turkey, like what they're up to, the minimalist basically, version, like when we were in Brazil. That's basically what it was too. It was just a camera and mics, we were going right into the camera. Like audio, yeah, very important. Light, super important, and yeah, man, that's you hit on everything. I was gonna also mention, like when we were at Funding the Commons, it did rain, and like that was kind of like a weird technical issue, but we were undercover and we made sure nothing got wet, and it was all good. But yeah.
Yeah, we ended up getting a tarp before DAPCon. The first day of DAPCon, we were outside under a tree, so we were expecting rain, and luckily we didn't have it, but we have a tarp now to just throw over the equipment if we need to. Consider the weather when you're doing these. It was really great to be outside. That was incredible at DAPCon all 3 days under the tree on the lawn. We had the best place sitting outside, which sometimes people would come over and just want to sit there. We would ask them if they wanted to record, and we did get at least one recording that way. But DAPCon was pretty packed, especially towards the end. We got a lot of good content there.
Yeah, there was like a boardwalk and trees, and it was very nice. Everybody sort of they congregated around us in those little couches and stuff. I think we had the hip corner for sure. It was really nice.
So I'm working on this recap post that I hope to put out on Monday. It doesn't go too deep into details, but it does give a nice overview of like, who is ZK AV Club? What is the recording station? What did we do at Berlin Blockchain Week? What to look for, and touches on some of what we learned from this. The main takeaway is that it works. It's really amazing that we got the reception we did from the event organizers. The crew was all super happy and having fun the entire time, which makes all the difference in the world, especially when we're on camera, but also the vibe. Like we were saying, like keeping your cool and just vibing with the people around you. When they come up and talk, or even just come up and look at the sign, then it's important to approach them and establish that relationship and that connection. And this is where the honest and true stories come from. Definitely. The idea of the sort of mobile recording setup of having like a camera or a phone and microphones, like what you're doing in Istanbul at the Istanbul Blockchain Week, it's great. Roosevelt has done something like this on the streets in Barcelona, and it's an amazing opportunity to do this. If you're doing it at an event, then you might want to, that will definitely consider the event itself. Some events aren't very open to this. And so you have to be careful with like pointing the camera where there's a crowd behind you. The DAPCon was the one where we had some people sitting behind us and eating and stuff. And there were signs around saying this premises is being recorded. And then the cameras were clearly pointed in that direction. We can do some background blurring on them if it's necessary, if it's desirable.
Yeah, I was almost thinking like maybe next time some kind of a drop cloth, something nice as a background, you know, just in case.
Yeah, we had I bought this cheesecloth, and then we have a projector, but the cheesecloth isn't really big enough, and there was nothing to string it up to. So like if we had some poles, we could have put something up to obscure the background and then projected something onto the cheesecloth. We didn't end up using it at all, which is kind of a bummer. I was looking forward to it, and we took the projector with us to most of the events, but we never knew what we were going to get. And this is it's kind of the whole point of like the spontaneity. Like you have to be flexible. You have to be able to work within the chaos of these events. It pays off a lot if you have experience at these events or events like what you're attending. If you go to an event for the first time and it's the first time you've been to like a blockchain conference or a camp or whatever is similar to something you've done before, if you haven't done anything like this before, going to the event itself can be so overwhelming that you don't get anything recorded, which is also fine. But it will be helpful if you have someone with you that knows the environment, knows what kind of scene to expect, so that it doesn't get overwhelming. And having enough people where some of the team can go check out some talks or go have conversations of their own off camera. This is also super helpful. So we had a team of 5 and it worked out really, really well. It was all very smooth. And like everyone that was doing what they're doing at the recording station was having a good time, having fun, hacking on the recording stuff and talking to people. And it really showed. At Decentralized Media Summit, someone came up, it was one of the photographers came up and asked if we needed to like stay out of the way of his shots or something like that. And I was like, no, man, we're just here to have fun, And it gave him a smile. And it's really the whole point of this. The whole point of AV Club is to have fun and to like make some content while we're doing it. And it changes the content itself. It changes the people that we're talking to. It's really impactful. Chill vibes only.
Yeah, definitely. And it was great. I actually talked to a couple of the photographers like at Protocolberg and then at DAppCon, and yeah, they were really cool. But yeah, I thought about like again why it's important. Like I'm sure they like probably might know about the projects, but they're not there exactly for the same reasons. It's they gotta like just take pictures of stuff, and then I asked in the end, it's just like, oh yeah, it just goes to them. I have no idea, after that. And so yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, the content, where it goes after the fact, generally, I guess it just goes to the events organizers. And our content will, before the event organizers even see it, it goes to the people who were recorded first, and we'll get approval from them. We did ask beforehand, but we're just double checking. So we have everything uploaded to some storage where we can share the links to the speakers, the people that joined us. And then once we have approval on stuff, we'll start putting it up on Internet Archive and our YouTube channel and posting stuff on X. This will happen pretty quick. I will post the recap on Monday, the 30th of June, and the videos will start coming right around that same time. I think we'll start with the octahedron stuff because like I'm really, really proud of these 2 conversations that were recorded by octahedron. Squirrel joined for one of them. Actually, we have one. I forgot, they actually did an interview with John and I about ZKAV Club. And the only video that was recorded for that one was from the shielded cam, which I was standing behind with voice distortion. So in the interview, you can really only hear my voice as a robot, I think, or Darth Vader. We had that one set to be more like Darth Vader. So I think the first video that we'll release from this whole Berlin Blockchain Week experience is going to probably be the octahedron interview with ZKAV Club. Maybe we just released the transcript for it, but I'm strongly tempted to release that one first. And then the other octahedron podcast that happened at Protocolberg was epic. It's super long and really awesome with some folks that I think a lot of you will recognize. And enjoy hearing the thoughts and ideas from. And then the third one that we did with them was an interview with Victor Tron from Swarm, and this is the one that we attempted to live stream to Swarm and fix the audio on, and we'll upload that. And I want to do a restream of it to Swarm, maybe with a bit of the audio sample from the previous one, so that people can see how we were able to recover it, because it was pretty cool. So those videos probably first, coming out next week, and then as soon as we get approval from the people that we spoke with, then we'll be releasing a lot more of these, a lot more of the 30. And we'll make the videos from Decentralized Media Summit, we'll cut those into individual videos. I think there were 6, 7, 8 somewhere in there. So we'll release those too. They were excellent. They were really, really good. All of the content that we got is really, really excellent stuff. So look for that. Look for blog post about the recap, all of the content. Look for announcements about where we'll be for the rest of the year. We have, I guess, 3 events that are in the works right now. The first is ZECC in Prague on Tuesday and Wednesday, the 8th and 9th of July. So we'll be recording more conversations there with a bunch of Zcashers, a bunch of ZK engineers from across the shielded ecosystem. And that's going to be really, really cool. I look forward to seeing that content. I won't be there. So this is the first test to see if someone who's not there can actually get a feel for the vibe at the event and what's going on. For me, it'll be my first opportunity to see that. This content will come out a bit later. We have to figure out a strategy for publishing all this. We're open to publishing on decentralized platforms, but as far as I can tell, they're all expensive at this point. Swarm has an interesting economic model that they use, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. I hope to have Victor and some other people from their team on Foundry in the future when we discuss decentralized media, storage and streaming and sharing. That'll come up soon. We have figured out a schedule for Foundry for the rest of the year. We're going to end up doing 11 sessions of Foundry in 2025. And I don't know how many workshops yet, because the workshops will be community led. This is an initiative that we just announced last month or the month before, for the 5 Zcash that you can get for making your own workshop based on the stuff that we've talked about in Foundry. So like we started with restreaming, and you can restream just in the browser if you want to stream to Discord or Zoom or something like that, Telegram. Then you can also restream using OBS and virtual cable. Virtual cable is mostly necessary. You can do it just using system audio on, like, if you use Linux, for example. So all of this stuff, you can definitely teach a workshop in your language to your communities, and we'll have some guidelines on how to do this, exactly what we're looking for if you want to win that 5 ZAC bounty for doing these workshops. Those are all an official part of the Foundry series. So in the next 6 months, I hope to see a lot of them, and coming from all around the world, teaching people how you do translation, for example, something else that we've set up. This does require a virtual cable. There's other ways to do it, and if you have a different way to do it, we would love to see it. So translations and restreaming, the recording station that we're talking about now, like, we'll be releasing a recording station workshop in English that I'll produce with Robmar's help on some video editing and switching and explanation of things. And then Zcash in Espanol has been doing workshops since we had the idea. It was actually their idea to do these workshops, and they've delivered one on translation and transcription and another workshop on basic video editing. And we'll have another one on the recording station soon from them as well. And it'll be a different recording station setup, maybe. I think that Roosevelt and Ora, I'd love to see how you would do a recording station.
Thank you for invite to be part of the team, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Working with this team has been amazing. What we've done for Foundry, building it up from nothing. When we did the grant proposal last December, and it got accepted in January. The Zcash Community Grants Program, who I also forgot to thank at the beginning of this, they paid for this for Foundry. They were our first official sponsor for the ZK Av Club Foundry series, and it has been an incredibly wild ride doing that and prepping for this Berlin Blockchain Week stuff. It all kind of started at the same time. Like I started making contact with Department of Decentralization last December to talk to them about Protocolberg and doing the recording station there. That's where the whole recording station thing started, was with the Department of Decentralization. I had a feeling they would just get it, and they did, and they were totally open to the idea. So at the same time, I think even in the same week, I was writing the grant proposal for Zcash Community Grants to help sponsor this live stream that our team would produce and host and deliver. It was originally supposed to be every 2 weeks. It's quite the lift. These are 90-minute. They're supposed to be 90-minute discussions. We were also going to have a lab built into the live streams, but it turns out to be much more professional if we give it more time and more planning. So we're going to be doing them once every month. It's actually every 4 weeks we have them scheduled out. That'll give us 11 sessions for this year. And we'll continue with this basic overall topic of community building using decentralized and open source audiovisual tools. Things like restreaming. Restreaming something that you're watching, that you're into. Like I mentioned, Stream ETH. They're doing this amazing live streaming of conferences from all around the world, specifically Ethereum stuff or stuff related to Ethereum. Maybe your community wants to watch this in their Discord or in their Telegram, and you can just use a browser. You can use Chrome or Brave. Any Chrome-based browser has this option to share a tab and do a live stream that way into your Discord or Zoom calls or whatever. So if you're watching something and you want to watch with your friends, then stream it into one of their channels. You all can chat alongside of it. This is a great way to build your community. The translations are just like a layer on top of that, because if you're streaming to your community whose mother tongue, their natural language is Spanish or Portuguese or Korean or the Turkish, you can take any live stream, put it through a speech logger or use local AI to do a transcription and translation, and then rebroadcast that out for your community. Rabmar has been doing this for ZCon for 3 ZCons now so far, and is doing it on this live stream that you're watching right now. So we taught folks how to do this. We talked about the power of live translation and why you should be doing it in a Foundry session earlier this year. And I would love to see more people do this and teach your communities how to do it, because this is like, this is community building times 10. It's really, really powerful stuff to get the content that you care about to your community in a language where they can follow along. And this is the restreaming plus the transcription and translation. It's very, very powerful in community building, and it's very sought after. Like, I think that when communities start seeing this technology and what we're doing, and they can learn from us, they can learn from you, then more people are going to want to have this option. In fact, we just noticed on the Bitcoin Prague conference, they offer 60 different languages being live streamed to your phone on translation. There's a service that does this. They charge a lot of money for it, I would imagine. They don't say on their website how much. It just has some packages, and each one asks for a quote. We know how to do this. Like, we know how to do this with open source, local only software. So you can do the transcription and translation on your computer. You need pretty powerful computer in some cases, but this will change quickly according to Moore's law. And then you can broadcast onto phones on a local network using Video Ninja. So, like, what these companies are just starting to create and to monetize and deploy at conferences, we already know how to do. We've been doing it for the last 2 years very successfully, and it's helped grow the Zcash community significantly. So community building is really what we're about, and how to use these tools to build your own community. This is what we talk about in Foundry. We have sessions coming up. I don't actually have the schedule written in front of me for the topics. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so we have July 25th. Yeah, July 25th, we'll talk about broadcasting. And the power of broadcasting and community building, this goes back a long way into history. Broadcasting has been a part of revolutions. It's been a part of neighborhood community building. It goes like to airwaves and the internet. It's incredibly powerful stuff. This shouldn't even need to be explained on that level, but I look forward to diving into some of that in the Foundry session on the 25th. We'll also touch on OBS, Open Broadcaster, and then some live streaming platforms that you can use, including ZK Radio, which is an awesome broadcasting tool, and like Swarm, decentralized live streaming. We'll talk a bit about that as well in this broadcasting session on July 25th. And then August 22nd, we will go into audio recording and processing. This is, like I said, audio first is really something to live by. Like if your audio is bad and you're in your video, then the video is useless. If the video is bad and the audio is great, you still have the audio and you can publish that. You can make a video to go along with it if you want. So we're going to dedicate a whole session just to audio, to recording. We'll talk about some tech to use, give some tips there, and then processing as well, whether it's audio levels and filters, or like the AI stuff that you can use to clean it up using all open source like Audacity. So September 19th, we'll talk about meeting platforms. We're using Brave Talk for Foundry. We've been using Free2Z, also has very cool semi-free open live streaming solution. It's Dite is the JavaScript application that runs there using WebRTC. Really cool stuff. Jitsi is what Brave Talk is on the back end. Jitsi's amazing. It's been for a long time been a favorite open source project of mine, and they've done really great work with encryption and everything. There's also Yeet, which we haven't tried yet. I've been hearing a lot about it, and I look forward to that. And if anyone else has other meeting platforms where you can get a panel together and live stream from there, like what we're doing here, that I'd love to hear about it. So meeting places, we'll get to that in September 19th. Then we've got October 17th is the one after that. We'll talk about virtual conferences and how you can produce your own virtual conference. ZCon has been virtual multiple times. I think it was ZCon 2, 5, and 6. Yeah, 2, 5, and 6 were all virtual. And the second one and the fifth one were produced by me mostly. We were using Zoom and some other stuff. And then we activated, especially for 5, we activated the remote community, the remote Zcash community, really stepped in, and we were restreaming it from YouTube to Discord and to X with translations into like 4 different languages. It was really amazing. And yeah, the YouTube view count suffered a little bit because when you start decentralizing, truly decentralizing these live streams, activating the social layer to decentralize your content, it makes analytics impossible. Like your metrics are going to be totally screwed up, but that's not the point. That's not, not what we're doing here. We're not trying to count humans. We're trying to get people involved and active in your community. So we're going to give away all of the tips. We're going to take what we learned from all of Foundry up to this point to talk about virtual conferences and how you can do your own virtual conferences in October 17th. We'll cover that. And really from this event, from the virtual conference for Foundry, I really want to see small communities start organizing their own virtual meetups. You can do a 2 or 3 hour meetup with a few presentations of people you have in your community, whether it's remote or local, and gather in one of these meeting places, check your audio, make sure the live stream's working, activate the remote community, and really push the content out. And you're just removing gatekeepers. Like there's no reason for us to wait for our favorite foundation to do a virtual conference. Like this makes 0 sense to me. We can do the virtual conferences ourselves. So we're going to talk about that, the power of virtual conferences, meetups. We should probably come up with a different name. This virtual conference thing just kind of sounds gross. So if we come up with a different name for them and something that like we can really empower communities to start doing on their own, that's what we'll be doing in October. I'm really excited about that one. Then in November, November 14th, we'll do decentralized media. This is storage, streaming, and sharing. We have a lot of different opportunities, especially for the sharing part. Storage becomes a little bit more tricky and expensive. Streaming becomes a lot more tricky. And I'm not sure how much it costs yet because we haven't seen very many solutions to this. But sharing wise, there's peer-to-peer file transfer products, protocols, applications, things like Destiny, which we've used quite a bit by least authority. And they also have private storage, which could be interesting. But like one major problem that we have after the recording station, and it's a problem I look forward to solving, it's the fact that we have half a terabyte worth of content that we captured. There's 10 gigabyte files, like single files that are large media files. And if you upload these to some platforms, they just don't work. A lot of times, if you have a large media file like that, it won't play back because depending on the receiver's internet connection, all these different things to consider. IPFS, it works for large files, but only if you are all running nodes and it's like pinned enough. So I look forward to really digging in, hopefully talking to some of the developers, the engineers before we get to this November 14 session of Foundry, then get some of them on as well, because it'd be cool to kind of do user experience and some feedback. But during Foundry, we'll actually talk about why communities want to use decentralized solutions versus centralized ones. Like when it comes to streaming, do we always want to stream to YouTube? We do it. I've been doing it for so long because the solution's there. Discoverability is there. I want everything that we do to be public, but that's not always right for every community. There might be a recording station that you do and you want to have just your small cluster of encrypted storage that you put the videos onto. You're going to want to know how to encode them so that they don't suffer this problem when the viewer has a lower internet connection speed. It's a major problem. Privacy can be a problem for certain communities. So we're going to dive into all of that in November 14th for the decentralized media session of Foundry. And then we have some events coming up at the end of the year. But the last session of Foundry of the year will be December 12th. And this is going to be a recap with updates from all of the stuff that we talked about. This technology that we're working with is cutting edge. It's bleeding edge to a lot of folks. It's just unknown, and it's a lot of hacker stuff. So it changes rapidly. The AI stuff that we've been working on with translations has changed dramatically in the 2.5 years that we've been hacking along that. And we're always discovering new software. So we'll take the Foundry events at the end of the year to do a recap of everything that we talked about and to get some project updates, to get updates on the different software and hardware that we're using. And to talk to the communities. I hope that in December, when we do this last session, we'll be able to bring in some of the communities that we've been supporting, that have been supporting us, and be able to hear more about like, what is the ZK AV Club? What is it that we're actually doing? This is a new initiative. It'll be 3 years old by then, and it's really developing in real time. It's changing constantly, and it's really fun to watch. It's really great to see new people come in and new ideas form, and people collaborate, cooperate, work together, and like the spontaneity of it, the chaos of it, it's all going somewhere. So December 12th, we'll do this recap and include some other communities and hear what's going on and how it all went. Lots of workshops in between now and then, being led by our Zcash and Espanol team. They're also a part of the Foundry crew, so they're being very active on producing the workshops in Espanol. And then the team in Brazil also is the Zcash Brazil team is carrying through with some of these new workshops in Portuguese. We have another one of theirs coming out next month. We'll have a workshop from them on video editing. Looking forward to that for sure. And if you want to do workshops, then keep in contact with us. Watch Discord, watch our X and Blue Sky profiles. We'll be posting whenever we have a new workshop coming out, and especially when we produce the guide, we'll have guidelines for how to do your own workshop. These will require a lot of cooperation with us, with me and the Foundry team, because like we need the workshops to be done in a specific way and delivered in a certain way. It's not just YouTube videos that we're making. It's not just basic tutorials. A lot of this stuff you can find basic tutorials for online. However, maybe not in your language. So we'll consider that as well. But we definitely want these to be cooperation projects. These are collaborations. Everything the ZK AV Club does is very social, very interactive. And I want the workshops to also be that as well. So stay tuned. Pay attention to our X profile, Blue Sky, Discord. You can go to discord.gg/Zcash and get into a bridged channel to the ZK AV Club there. Check that out. The POAP, in case you missed it or you needed to be reminded, you can get a POAP for this session of Foundry by making a clip of this session. There are rules that I think have been posted around the chat and stuff. I will read them for you again here momentarily. Okay, number 1, create a 1 to 3 minute vertical format video, a clip of this session. Number 2, you have total freedom of creativity in your video, subtitles, languages, effects, transitions, etc. Post your video clip on X saying that you participated in this session, and don't forget to mention @ZKAV_club and use the hashtag Foundry. The deadline to share your video is September the 29th. On Monday, the 30th of June, we will verify your post and video and we'll send you your POAP. So do that in order to get the POAP, and you can start collecting these. We will have POAPs for all of our sessions of Foundry. The workshops will probably also have POAPs, maybe with different rules. I think that a restreaming POAP would be cool. So maybe in the future for Foundry, we'll actually have like a restreaming POAP and a clip POAP. And if you restream into your community, into Discord or Telegram or onto X on your profile, then we can do a restreaming POAP there. And the community fund from the Zcash community grants that we received is at this point going to the workshop creators. So it's forget how much ZEC is in that community pool. It's $8,000 US, paid out through 4 times throughout the year, 8,000 in total. So 5 ZEC for each workshop, and that's a really good opportunity for people to show us how you do what you do, and what you're learning from us. So it might be kind of sometimes it's difficult to put yourself in front of the camera, especially if you're coming from a privacy community. Get used to it. That's all that I could say. Like, do it, and hopefully you'll get better and more comfortable with it. Especially if you're presenting something you don't know very well or something that you're new at. Another surprise is that I forgot to mention this. On July 3rd, I'm going to be doing a workshop with some folks from DWeb and the Internet Archive. And this workshop will focus on how to upload many large files to archive.org using the command line, the command line tool that they have. This is a problem that we face right now with all this recording footage. I want to get it out as soon as possible. Uploading through their web browser or through their website in the browser takes forever. It's just not going to work for me. So I contacted Tommy with DWeb and asked him to help. And then we got an expert from Internet Archive to help us out as well. So I'm waiting for final confirmation on this, and we will be publishing the calendar link as soon as we have that confirmation. So something else to look for, the Internet Archive DWeb workshop on July 3rd. It's going to be really cool. And then we'll have the workshop on the recording station that will publish shortly after that. We will have the Brazil team do their workshop on video editing sometime, I think July 11th was what we were talking about there. And then Foundry on July 25th. So we don't slow down. We're only going to keep going faster. And hopefully have a chance to take some breaks. But yeah, it's inspiring to be making this content and be working with this community. So it's hard to slow down.
It's awesome. Ryan, do you have to refill your cup? It's a lot of information. It's a huge calendar for the rest of the 2025. Um, I appreciate that all the initiatives are thinking in the community. All the community can be part of creating workshops, creating clip contests, participating. I think that how we say in Spanish, the table is served, la mesa está servida. People, community have to to take part of.
Yeah, join in. That's all that it takes. Join Foundry. Tell more of your friends to join Foundry, to follow us on our socials where we announce when a new event is published, when we will announce when we're doing recording stations. Join the recording stations. Definitely host a workshop. There's so many different options. The restreaming for the POAPs, the clip making. We will hopefully have clip contests. Might do something with the recording content, the recording station content. That would be separate from Foundry. So we'll have to figure out a way to do prizes for it. But I would like to have a clip contest on this 30 interview content collection that we made. That would be really cool. So, like Roosevelt said, the table is served, and it's up to you to join in, learn some new skills, and learn about open source and decentralized technology that can empower you and build your community.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. Super excited for like the upcoming meetings and stuff. And like you said, it seems to really be ramping up, you know, with speed. And like, yeah, the other, you know, excitement around too is you know, detectable. It's not just me, you know.
Yeah, it's true. The people are really excited. People who came up to us at those recording stations, when they got it, when they understood what it is that we're doing and why, it was really clear that they were excited about it. We made some really good connections that I look forward to following up on, and it was just yeah, it was constant appreciation and intrigue. Curiosity is a big thing for me personally, and it's really cool seeing people curious about what we're doing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to more of this. And I think we've been going for like more than 90 minutes now. We've been going for quite a while. And my cup is empty. I've probably had enough coffee today, but that's it for Foundry number 5. I think we did a good job. We covered a lot. I walked you through all of this recording station stuff that we did, why we're doing it, what to look for. And if you want more information, follow us on X, subscribe to our YouTube, pay attention to our Discord, and everywhere that we publish stuff. It's going to start coming out a lot. A lot of this content's going to start getting released starting on Monday. So thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you at workshops in the near future. Bye.